Hello and assalamu alaikum guys, I'm Taurus here from Taurus Art and NFTs, back with another video. I know it's been quite some time since the last video, but what I wanted to bring you guys was quality content from a different point of view, from the point of view of an artist, which will be much different than the other critiques and information available on the internet or YouTube from athletes or event sponsors. So I hope you guys will connect with this video. As you know, this is going to be a very special video addressing a topic that has been brought up a gazillion times in the last decade especially, which is today's bodybuilding world faces a big issue. The issue that connects the main people of bodybuilding to the bodybuilders, that is the fans to the bodybuilders, and that issue is the instability of stage lighting and production and live streams in the current shows that we have seen. So this is how I'm going to address this video. You guys might not know this, but I'm not a graphics designer by profession or what I'm studying. So currently I'm in my third year of product designing. So that's what I want to become, product designer in the fitness field, in machinery and stuff like that. But graphics is a passion of mine, and the only reason I'm doing graphics is to keep that passion alive. That's how most of you might know me, as an artist and as a graphic designer, but that's not actually what I do full time. This is just my passion, and I decided to keep it alive with the sport I love the most. That's bodybuilding and fitness. What I wanted to tell you guys is I am going to address this video as a product designer, as an artist, and how we can get a solution to this problem, and how we can make it better for both the fans and the promoters and everybody else who is involved in the process of the bodybuilding industries and the events especially. So let me start by saying this. I want to address how promoters should treat their athletes, right? And this is not based on personality, based on ethics. This is based on how a presenter should treat his art, should treat his canvas. What I'm going to draw parallels with is what artists learn and what artists are more comfortable with, how artists show their best vision. In this case, in bodybuilding, the artists are the bodybuilders themselves, right? And their canvas is their own body, and they should be given all right to present their artwork, which is their body that they have worked so hard for, in the best way possible. But unfortunately, in this case, it is a combination of not only the artist, that's the bodybuilder, it's also a combination of the auction house, let's say, that's the promoters. The issue I have been seeing in the last 1 year of me analyzing the stage productions is, number one, the product is not being treated like a product. It has been so for the majority of the last 5-6 years at least, that the backgrounds on our bodybuilding shows have a lot of excess information. They have a lot of excess information in the form of sponsor logos, brands, and videos playing in the background on LCD screens, as I can point out in a few shows, and light strobes and disco balls and whatnot. What I heard from Dan Solomon and the Olympia promoters this year in the press conference before the Olympia was they didn't know how else to top the stage the next year. Now, I agree with them, the fact that the stage production was amazing, but it's not suited for bodybuilding. It's, if you would say that you are hosting a WWE match, then I would say, okay, you can't top that, right? But in this case, I would say you don't need to do anything more. You actually need to do lesser than what you have already done. You can take away a lot of things and make the sport more beautiful. You can present it more beautifully by actually removing things, by doing less, channeling those funds and channeling that creative energy into other different parts of the sport, instead of going all in on just the stage. Number one, I feel we don't need to have 2 different stages or 3 different stages in one venue or 2 venues in the Olympia itself and other shows. We can have just one standard stage that looks good. We can have that. Ultimately, the bodybuilder doesn't care, and the people who see don't care if the stage is different from, prejudging to the night show or whatever. How the stages can be better, you ask me? Okay, so the first thing I would critique is removing all the excess information and then choosing a backdrop that complements the skin tones of the athletes, because the athletes are what you want to focus on. The lighting and the information on the stage, the screen real estate, should not split between the athlete and the promoter's logo behind him, right? And I kid you not, many photographers would actually love this because in the pace of an event, the photographers need to click fast shots of the athletes. When you click fast shots in your camera, obviously it takes time to look through the lens and then see where your product is standing and then click his picture. When you look at it from a product designer's point of view, every product we click images of, we try to have like as less information in the background as possible, except for a few props, like 1 or 2 props beside the product that complement it. Why, you say? Because we want the viewer's attention to go right to the main product, right to what we want to sell or right to what we want to promote. That's the job of the promoters, to promote the bodybuilders, to promote the bodybuilding of sport in itself. Now, how can we do that the best way? Now that we have this out of the way, that the background should have no information, what color should the background be? Now, when it comes to photography, there's a standard rule when it comes to a subject when you're shooting portraits, right, with a plain background. A lighter skin tone would need to have a darker background, and a darker skin tone could use a much lighter background to complement it. When it comes to human body skin color, all of us are shades of red, right? We are either dark red, which goes to the browner side, or we are light red that goes to the beige or peachish skin tone. So the best colors that can complement our skin tones are in fact shades of red, are shades of different shades of red. Now, a lighter skin tone needs a darker color and a darker skin tone needs a lighter color. What I suggest is to have a background that is bright in color but is a darker shade of that bright color. In this case in point, if red is that color, then our background should be somewhat maroonish, right? So it has that touch of bright red, and because it is a darker shade of red, it is a darker color too. And when was the last time we saw a maroon background, you guys might ask? I'll give you the most famous example. Pumping Iron, Arnold Schwarzenegger's era, the golden era. They used to have like bright colors, dark shades of bright colors for their backgrounds. So as you can see in the videos that I'm pulling up right now, look how beautiful these bodybuilders look. Look the space that they have given. So everything from the lighting to the stage vignettes to the bodybuilder, right, fades towards the center of the stage and the bodybuilder, and best lighting to accentuate his skin, which is warm lighting. As you can see, Serge Nubret, Lou Ferrigno, everybody looks awesome, and it looks like they have been given a platform where they can present themselves well. Now, this is what I suggest the bodybuilding shows can have in general, is a dark red or a dark maroon background, which can be generalized throughout all the IFBB professional promoters shows. That's a color that I feel can be best used by any athlete of any color, of any racial descent, to present his body in the best way. Now, what the athletes can do creatively to make use of this red background? In my opinion, the athletes can get creative with the shades of the shorts they wear. So for example, I'm not saying to change the color of your shorts like you do in open bodybuilding. What I'm saying is use a darker shade or a lighter shade of a similar color for all your athletes that the athletes like in their opinion. So when an athlete knows before the show how his stage is going to look like weeks before the show, not the day before the show. So he already knows the apparel he should wear. If you're a men's physique athlete, or even if you're an open bodybuilding athlete, you know what kind of shorts or trunks you have to wear to complement your body the best with the background. So that's what I suggest the athletes can go by. Let's say classic physique, let's say Terrence Ruffin. I'm going to take an example from the Arnold Classic where I feel there was a good dark background and there were certain athletes who stood out amazingly. But what happened with Terrence? I feel like because of the dark nature of his skin tone, the black in the background sort of camouflaged his body and did not bring out the best, did not visually bring out contrast in his body as compared to the background as other athletes like Nick Walker had, right? Or as Logan Franklin had, topping it off with Terrence's black shorts that is standard throughout all the classic physique competitions that I have seen up until now. So that sort of camouflaged his body and did not bring out the highlights in his body as well as the shadows in his body from a judge's point of view also, I imagine, and also from a fan's point of view 100%. So what could have been better? Imagine it as a dark background in a red shade with warm lighting. It should not be white lighting, white pale lighting, because that's reflected differently by the skin too and by the background too. The background could be a cloth material because cloth reflects light differently than plain paper reflects the light, but that can be an auxiliary as long long as the main color of the background is seen to it as a darker shade of red, in my opinion. So that's how we can address this, and that's how the athletes can make use of their presentation skills. Even if they have zero posing skills, they can at least know in their heart that they are going to look the best possible way on the stage that they are provided with. Now, coming to another topic, pay-per-views. What I have seen in the recent past is, in terms of instability, is that certain shows have amazing pay-per-views, right? Amazing HD quality pay-per-views, and certain shows have bad pay-per-views, and those shows may have a good background and good lighting, but they have bad pay-per-views. And some shows have both, some shows don't have both. Let me just give you an example of the Arnold Classic. The free pay-per-view, in my opinion, after talking to a few close friends of mine from the industry, including Nick Strength and Power, many of the people said that the free Arnold live pay-per-view of everything, the whole event, was much better than the whatever $30 or $60 Olympia paid pay-per-view. Obviously, might be Arnold's connections for his videographers and cinematographers and whatnot, the pay-per-view team. The basic issue is, in my opinion, that the focus is diverted towards just some specific things instead of giving the best in every area. In my opinion, these shows should have something close and standardized in the form of having a cinematographer or videographer like Gilco Productions, who is doing amazing work when it comes to capturing bodybuilders and their whole routines and stuff like that. Like, that quality is what actually translates better to the fans. For example, for bodybuilders like Ian Valier, whose conditioning and paper thin skin is what actually puts him aside from all the other bodybuilders on stage who have better shape or are bigger or better symmetry. For bodybuilders like those who are a class apart based on conditioning and skin quality, such video productions is very important for us, very necessary for us. So I suggest, when you have people at your disposal like Gilco Productions, you should make use of them as a promoter, right? You should see the value in them. Some of the best photographers I have seen, Will Whitman, people I really look up to in the industry, they have this amazing creative talent, and some of them do get the opportunity, but most of these opportunities are not explored as much as they should be. These people can be a part of the ideation team for the pay-per-views of the Olympia and the Arnold Classic big shows and the small shows. That HD quality video with the perfect focus on the athletes, and what matters the most is what the fans need. The fans need a good stage and a good view, because at the end of the day, they are waiting for months till the next big show, and all they get is, maybe a bad stage and good lighting, and something is always off, right? Very rarely do we see shows that have every production good in them. Let me take an example of the Monsterzym Pro 2. The way they present their pay-per-views is exceptional, and maybe their stage could use less flashiness and more of just a single backdrop, plain backdrop. That's another thing I wanted to address. Channeling funds to the right place is another thing. I feel like a lot more can be done, a lot more can be accomplished in terms of delivering the best with lesser to do, right? You don't need to hire tons of people to make a big stage with a flashy TVs and stuff like that. All you need to do is make things simple for the viewer. In this sport especially, you can have everything. You can have all that flashy stuff too, but in Guy Sister Nino's words, just do it to the side. If you guys know, you guys know. You can just have the TVs and the televisions and the bigger screens to either sides of the stage, where people who are sitting there can view it easily. You can do everything, but just do it to the side, and make that clear with all your promoters that the stage backdrop is not going to have any information whatsoever. So that is one way we can make things simpler for the viewer to see. And what this will do is, even if the pay-per-view is not that good and lighting is not that good, at least the viewer has a clear vision of only one element in front of him, that's the bodybuilder. When you bring more elements in the background, they eat up a lot of screen real estate and a lot of visual space. So that conflicts with the mind even more for a viewer, and he's not able to enjoy the process as well as he should be able to enjoy the process. So let's take an example of Legion Sports Fest when I'm going to end this video here, is that this was a show that truly creatively connected with me. From their promotions, they asked athletes permission to, make sort of creative figures for them, creative cartoons for them in their official poster. So that's how they promoted their sport, that's how they made it more interactive to the sport by showcasing their bodybuilders, their athletes as superheroes. And their angle of their pay-per-view was a judge's angle. That was another amazing thing that you don't get to see, and the fans can connect more sometimes looking through a judge's point of view. That is one thing that could be standardized. Another thing that I feel like some small shows do practice, like Fouad Abiad, his show that he had was just a plain black backdrop, and that is something that one of the people who actually understands and takes creative advice seriously in the industry, did, and I'm super happy with that. And yeah, man, that was my creative breakdown, critique, and solution and advice to the promoters, the Olympia, the NPC of the IFBB, anybody. If you are hearing this, maybe you could use this advice seriously from a creative standpoint. Maybe you could be open to involving new creative potential with your productions, and sometimes less is more, and this is one of those times, and this is one of those sports, and that's why I feel there's a lot of potential. Obviously in bodybuilding, even if it never becomes a mainstream sport, there is definitely scope for it to become at least 50 or 100x what it is right now. Yeah guys, that's me. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you like the content, and hope you spread the word. Thank you all for the support. Thank you all for the support on my artwork on my Instagram and also my NFTs, which if you guys are new to my NFTs, I am also an NFT artist, and the aim with my NFT art is to present bodybuilding in a more creative light, open bodybuilding to new opportunities when it comes to the NFT world. And like other sports are utilizing artwork, I am trying to make the best of what I have with my sport, trying to do my bit to promote my sport in a different area. So if you guys are into NFTs and want to learn more, want to invest in one of my pieces, or want to invest in the in the art of bodybuilding in a creative way, you can check out my foundation pieces, you can check out my OpenSea, my Rarible. All of them can be found in the link tree in my bio, and some of them I might link down too. So thank you all for your support, guys. Seriously, for an artist in bodybuilding, the feedback I get from all of you on my Instagram is very, very nice. You guys can follow me on Twitter too to learn more about artworks and the NFT space that I'm involved in. And until next time, guys, Assalamu alaikum, take care, goodbye.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.